Hey guys, welcome to my channel. So as you can tell by the title of this video, we are doing a lesson in makeup with Scottbarnes and Tati, and I'm following along. I wrote down notes. Off camera, I did the blurring of unevenness of skin with Fawn from LA Girl. And now here you can see me, I am putting on from my Jet Set palette in the shade First Class. This is a nice brown shade. I tend to use shadows in the spring and the summer because it's just softer, not as harsh as a pencil. And I'm cleaning up underneath my brow bone with that same fawn shade from LA Girl, the same concealer that I used to blur out the unevenness in my skin. I'm just doing that on the top of my brows and at the bottom, and just going to blend that into my forehead. And not to worry about this, guys, because you're going to cover it with foundation. And just go 1 or 2 shades lighter with concealer because you don't want that halo look to be happening over your brows. And really, Scottbarnes' Snatural technique is all about contouring under your foundation. So once you bring that concealer into the eyes, just bring it up to the sides of the nose, and that kind of gives you an imaginary contour line where you can actually put your contour product, which you see me doing here in the Fenty Matchstick in shade Espresso. And I'm taking that contour even up to my brows, just because Scott says you want to do that when you're wearing sunglasses only. So that's what I'm doing. And I'm using the brush to kind of cut off where my nose was to make it shorter. And then I'm using the contour in the socket of my cheekbones and taking it upward to the sides of my face, which Scott says you do it that way to get a more rounded look to the face as opposed to the straight line. And I contoured under my chin and blended that contour shade into my neck as well. And now I'm using my foundation in Saddlewood from Estee Lauder. And the great thing about doing this technique is because you've used the contour and the concealer first, you don't have to use that much foundation. But Scott says go in with that foundation, neck and face. So you're just going over everything that you just did. So it seems counterproductive, but it really does work, guys. Trust me, at the end, it's gonna come together. So now I'm just contouring my lips with Max Chestnut. And again, another Scottbarnes technique. Overline the lips, and then you're gonna go on top of the lip with your foundation brush that has a little bit of product on it, and just blend on top of what you just did with your contour or your lip pencil. And again, it seems counterproductive, but it works. And now I'm going in with my Estee Lauder in the shade Mauve. And this is a great lip pencil by itself as a lip color or to use under your lipstick. And I'm gonna use this under my Pure Envy cream lipstick from Estee Lauder in the shade Impulsive, which is just a beautiful coral kind of mauve shade. And I'm going to use Scott's technique to go on the top of my lips using the lipstick upward to my lip line. And I do that on the top lip and the bottom lip. And this just gives the illusion of a fuller lip. Now I'm going in with Fenty's lip gloss in Fussy, and I'm taking that doe foot applicator and I'm actually using the same technique from Scottbarnes, just going upward, just like I did with the lipstick, just to give my lips a little bit of shine. And this gloss just works beautifully with the colors that I've already used. Now Scottbarnes says you don't need to bake, just lightly use your setting powder, which I love. So I'm just tapping off the excess, and I'm going into those areas for me that are always creasing or oily. So under my eyes, in my smile lines around my mouth, using Aisha's technique, which is just to pout out your lips and set that setting powder in. And I'm also going to take this on the top of my forehead as well. Just one of those areas that I'm always oily sometimes. The great thing about not using a lot of setting powder is remembering that is pulling oil, and also being out in the heat is pulling oil also. So you don't want to have premature wrinkling and drying of the skin and exaggerated pores. Right here, I'm using MAC Skin Mineralized Powder in Dark Deep just to bring color back into my face and just buffing that into the skin. And like Scott says, on the forehead area, just take the brush upward into the hairline and just buff away. Take your time and buff that into the skin. You know, love yourself. Skincare and putting on makeup should be a pleasurable, enjoyable experience while you're pampering yourself. So on those days when you don't have to work and you don't have craziness going on, just love on yourself a little bit and take your time and put on your makeup. Now I'm going back into my Jet Set palette. I love this palette from JLo Cosmetics, guys. This is in the shade Black Card. It's a beautiful black color, not too harsh, not too strong. Gives me a nice soft smoky finish. I don't think this palette gets enough love, or JLo Cosmetics. They have beautiful shades and their shadows are not patchy, doesn't take a lot to blend them out. They're pigmented, as you can see here. I'm using the shade Runway, which is again another favorite in the palette. A nice pinky color. I'm using that as my transition shade. And this is the only color that I'm using as my transition shade on my upper lids. And just blending this out really, really well. And like Tati says, when you think you're done blending, just keep blending. Blend some more. So because I travel 90% of the time, this palette goes with me everywhere on those early morning flights. When I want to look glam, I just reach for this and I just do my eyes and face, everything actually with this palette. So these colors like Runway can be used on your cheekbones, lips, and you know, on your eyelids as an eyeshadow. I'm just going under my waterline with that same Runway shade as well, just to add another pop of color and to open up my eyes. I feel like that's what it does for me. And again, using that Runway color as my blush, multi-purpose, I know. And Scott says you want to go from the front of your cheeks to your ear. So you just want to buff that out really, really well. From front of cheekbone to ear. It gives a youthful appearance, and it's so true. When you do it this way, it does. Bring the blush more out to the front of the cheeks and then take it towards your ear. And again, take your time, guys. Just blend that in nicely. Now on my lids, I'm using the Royalty One highlighter. This highlighter, guys, no joke, a little of this goes a long way. It's finely milled and so pigmented. Take a look at that. Wherever you apply this, a little is gonna go a long way, and you don't need Farsali oil or P. Louise. Like the heat from your fingers with this fine milled product is, look at that. It's just gonna blend so nicely and it's gonna go wherever you place it. Now I'm taking my eyeshadow brush and I'm just blending everything in just so that there's no lines of delineation and it doesn't look harsh. Everything looks like one unified piece, if I could say it like that. Now I'm using the MAC mascara in black. It's a volumizing mascara. I absolutely love this. I don't really have lashes. And this just gives me the illusion that I do. And I'm just going to use Scottbarnes' technique, which is really taking the tip of the mascara brush and, as you could see here, clumping the lashes together. And it's so pretty when you do it like that. Now I'm going to go back to my brows and I'm using the Dior Brow Show in 002. This is a brow gel, but it also has a nice tint of color. I don't like my brows to be a dark brown, so this is just going to lighten that up just a little bit for me. And just remember, guys, brows are sisters. They are not twins. So just try to do your brows as best as you can and as perfect as you can, but don't stress yourself out if they're not exactly the same. Now for highlighter, I'm going to go in with my Bronze Goddess, which is a rose gold highlighter from Estee Lauder. I know I'm like an Estee Lauder head, but I do love Estee Lauder. And like Scott says, take that highlighter on the top of your cheekbones, more out to the front of your face, and blend it into the blush. And that's what I'm doing here. And this is such a soft highlighter that you can use it all over the face, which I did in this video. I absolutely love Bronze Goddess. If you guys get an opportunity, get your hands on it. It's so great. I'm so serious. It's such a great buy. Now you guys ready? Well, here is the finished look. I absolutely loved how this turned out, guys. I popped on some lashes from my lash line I'm about to launch in July, and everything came together nicely. I did not have to use a finishing spray. I had such a nice glow. People gave me tons of compliments. This is the second time I've done it. And of course, throughout this video, I drank my Cold Brew Nitro from Starbucks. I know Tati and Scott drank their Cold Brew. It's not the same brand, but guess what? I said if I was going to do this video like they did, I was going to even have my Cold Brew with me too. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Leave your comments below, and don't forget, if you do this, make sure you get your Cold Brew. Love you guys, and I'll see you in my next one.